mishaps happen regularly over time, and whereas in the past when our society was not dependent on electricity, it didn't matter as much, our modern, electrified way of life can be taken from us in less than a day. No farming equipment, no refrigeration, no transportation, the food supply collapses. Water treatment and distribution collapses, no water from the tap. No heat, no air conditioning, no internet, no lights, no phone, no hospitals, no banks, no gas, no ATMs, no 911. So the question begs to be asked, when is this going to happen? In terms of the sun's maximum flare, an X1000 event, a grid-destroying solar kill shot for sure. The most recent analysis suggests they happen every 6,000 years, but lesser, equally dangerous flares to our way of life happen much more often. Previous analyses suggested those X1000 flares could happen as regularly as every 800 years, with the smaller ones still capable of eliminating our way of life every 150 to 200 years. We went over a study earlier this week that suggests sun-like stars may produce X4000 or even X9000 flares. But the question is not the maximum flare power of the sun. The question is how often does it fire a big enough blast to send us back to the Stone Age? The studies that attempt to answer that question do not look at the sun from a flare physics perspective, but rather the geologic evidence deposited by past events here on Earth. Time and time again, the answer seems to be the same. As we saw this past week in another paper, every 150 to 200 years, the sun will hit Earth to that degree. Not a long window for an electrified civilization to get its act together. The level of flare that our modern way of life could not handle is actually only around X50, which would produce a geomagnetic storm in excess of KP9, wiping out the global grids, setting fire to electrified structures, and sending humanity back centuries. The last one was 1859, 164 years ago. So in the scope of that 150 to 200 years range, we're in the red zone. If it happened tomorrow, no serious solar physicist or geophysicist would be shocked beyond belief, and our time is certainly running out. What's worse, Earth is becoming more vulnerable because we are in a geomagnetic excursion. The magnetic poles are shifting, but more importantly, the magnetic field protection of our planet, our protection from the sun, is weakening. We have seen it impacting the upper layers of the atmosphere and even the jet streams, but more important than the slight modulation of geophysical phenomena, the sun is getting an easier and easier shot at our planet during this magnetic pole shift. The magnetic field weakening quickly, accelerating. Let's do a little bit of math. We should see that super solar storm at some point within the next 36 years. That would be the maximum full 200 years between the last one and the next one. But when exactly in the next 36 years is anyone's guess. Chances of it happening this year are only about 5%, but by 2030, that number jumps up to 25%, and by 2040, we're basically at a 50-50 chance. But that's before you consider the weakening of Earth's magnetic field. I consider it highly unlikely we will make it to 2050, and a very good chance we're not going to make it to 2040. The important thing to take away from this is that what we see around us is not going to continue. These storms routinely pound our planet, and we're due. For the first time, we are in an electro-dependent society, unlike the past, where nearly everything that keeps 8 billion people alive will be impacted if not taken away completely. Are you ready for this to happen? The sun doesn't care if you are or you aren't. It's coming. It seems like we're in a war of culture, economics, politics, good and evil these days. It seems fitting. The sun is set to declare war on our entire planet.
It's time to go. It's time to go. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? JT here with Cameron. Cameron's back. Turn some music down. It's pretty epic.
Man,
pretty epic music.
It is very epic music, and I love seeing that content from Ben, the suspicious observer there. So he just has such good content. I mean, all the facts right there at all times for you.
Yeah, it's a good reminder of like, you know,
Yeah.
I like when he does those, you know, because every morning he does the space weather and what's going on with the sun, but every occasionally he puts out these, hey guys, here's like the big picture of why we talk about this stuff and why this stuff is important. So I appreciate when he does stuff like that because makes me go, oh yeah, that's
it keeps
right.
me on my
we're on a timetable here.
I just watched this video again this morning, and I realized, man, we get in these lulls, right, where we're prepping really hard, and then life happens, and we kind of just go on with our day to day.
Yeah.
And then one of those videos comes out, and you're like, crap, I am way behind on blank, and I know it's coming, and we're prepping for it. So, I mean, we just did another Costco run today, and I was like, man, I can't tell you the last time I restocked our shelves for whatever. So, I got more spaghetti sauces and pasta noodles and waters and all that kind of stuff, just like the basic things that we always use. So
yeah,
stay prepped, people. Stay prepped.
Stay prepped, people. Yeah,
it's coming.
I don't think the freeze dryers ran for 3 or 4 weeks, which is a problem.
I told you it happens. I told you it would happen.
I mean, it ran when we first got it, man. That thing ran for months straight, nonstop.
Yeah.
So we got a good stockpile of freeze dried food, but it hasn't been running. Hasn't been running because again, it's summertime, and you're like, oh, you're just in this mode of summer. Like kids are home from school, and you're like, you work, and you just want to be like chill and enjoy the weather because you've been cooped up all winter, and you don't want to work and do anything. So I don't know. It's life. It is what it is. But
Yep.
yeah, Ben's videos definitely keeps you on your toes. They will definitely go, okay, I'm not crazy. This stuff is real. It will happen at some point. So
Well, and even if you don't agree or don't want to listen to that and don't want to know that, we are on the cusp of another solar event coming, just look at our normal weather patterns. I mean, like you've mentioned it, I mentioned it, but Ryan Hall and several others, we are having crazy weather right now. You can look at it from every aspect. If you look at it from crops, if you look at it from our storms, if you look at it from sinkholes and earthquakes,
yeah,
it might not be, I'm sure people are probably hearing little bits and pieces here and there, depending on what they're watching on the media or what they're watching on TikTok or social, whatever. But the events are happening all around us. I'm seeing more and more people post, the lightning that comes up from the ground, goes up into the sky.
Yeah, crazy.
A lot more people that are like, what is this? This is so crazy. And it's like, yeah, that's amping up because it's coming.
There's a
the
lot.
Weakening of the magnetic fields, and you've got.
Oh my! There's just so much that ties back to the sun, and you see a lot of experts in multiple different areas of expertise: weather, space, astrophysics. Mom and pop are even noticing that. Oh my gosh! Like the weather's changing. Like we're in June right now. June typically from a weatherman's perspective, from what from what my source tells me, June's a pretty quiet month for weather. Like you got your rain and stuff like that. And sometimes you have your freak storms here and there. It's hot, right? But June's a pretty quiet month. That's when a lot of like these weather guys and storm chasers like go on vacation. So, but this June right now, there's been unprecedented, never before seen storm patterns happening. I mean, look what just happened in Texas. Like tornadoes just ripped through a town in Texas and completely like leveled Texas in the last week. And if you start looking at like the news in the next week or coming weeks, you might hear of this storm pattern that's developing that came off the coast of Africa, and it's developing into a tropical storm, and it's looking to be a really big one to where if it tracks towards the East Coast, like it's going to be a big one. And we're not even close to hurricane season yet. The ocean's temperature is the hottest it's ever been on record. And there's weather guys there's weather guys that are going, we don't know what this is going to do. This has never happened. We cannot predict how this is going to affect weather anymore. Like we don't know. We're just kind of like going with the flow here. I mean, there's been multiple people that I've watched that are respectable in the field of weather. They're not preppers. They're not crazy people. They're weather guys, right? And they're like, we've never, ever seen this before. and it's nuts. It's crazy. And what drives weather? The sun. What's going on with the sun right now? It's in solar maximum. What else is going on with the sun? It's close.
It's not happy.
It's not happy right now. It's not happy right now. If you watch the pre-show video, Ben's video, the sun is like declaring war on Earth. The magnetic field is weakening. This is not all crazy prepping talk. This is like documented scientifically.
Science.
This is happening now. And we are now just like, now we can actually see the evidence of it. Like what you're seeing with the weather and all that is like evidence of all of this stuff that we've been talking about for the past however many long we've been talking about this. You're now starting to actually physically see evidence, and you're going to start seeing it affecting you. And we kind of already have. Like, I'm in Wisconsin, like, you know, we planted the garden, all that stuff. Like the whole month of June, May and June, like it didn't rain. It maybe rained twice. And I was starting to get hot. Like dry, hot. We're in Wisconsin. Like we always get rain here. Never had to worry about watering the garden last year. Right. This year, I'm like, you know, I talked about it in the last podcast that I was on. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was trying to think of ways, like, do I fill up my, you know, do I use the well and water the garden, all that stuff? And luckily it did. We got 2 or 3 days worth of rain, but it hasn't rained since then. So, like, we're starting to see the weather pattern shift. El Nino is, like, starting to ramp up. I think that's confirmed now that, yes, we are going into El Nino, which means weather pattern shift. It's just crazy. Crazy times. Crazy times.
Jamie stated, by the way, that your freeze dryer needs some of those eggs from your chickens.
The chickens haven't started laying eggs yet.
What? What a bunch of slackers.
Oh, well, I mean, they're only like 6 weeks old. 7 weeks old. I don't think they start laying until 12 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they start. They're getting big. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're getting big to the point where I have to like just told my wife, I'm like, we got to start thinking about like
where are they at now?
They're in the backyard. We kicked them out of the house a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Which has been so nice.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's what I wanted to confirm. I know at one point in time they were in your daughter's room to keep her busy at night.
Yeah, in the brooder and stuff. They were in there when they were little chicks, and you know, now we evicted them because they were getting too big.
Nice.
So yeah.
No issues with anything trying to get at them or
no
keeping them protected or anything like that?
No, we've had no issues. I think because like where we have them, they're right behind the house off the back deck. The dogs are always outside, so I think animals that have been around here have always known that they're the dogs, so they kind of stay away. We haven't had an issue with any like predatory birds yet, but I don't want to, you know, the next thing off the coop is going to be doing a covered run. So I got to build all that. So we're, you know, that's on the list as well to get done. So no, the freeze dryer will kick up because we got 14 chickens and there's only 3 of us in the house. So there's no way we're going to keep up with eating what these stinking birds are going to be producing on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, we'll be freeze drying.
14 chickens. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll be freeze drying a lot of eggs and giving a lot away because
awesome.
We originally were going to get 10 and then somehow they gave us the wrong box and it had 14 in them.
Well, so anyway, none of them died yet, so that's great.
Nope, none of them died. They're all good.
You just want to get extra.
They're healthy. I refused to name them. My wife named every one of them after living or dead living or dead, deceased famous women country singers. So there's a Dolly and there's a Loretta. There's all kinds of them are out there that she named. And I'm like, I will not call my chicken Loretta. It's a chicken. It's there to produce. If it doesn't produce, it's going in my belly. She's like, it will never go in your belly. We're never killing these chickens. I'm like, what happens in 5 years when they stop producing?
Exactly.
Oh, then they're just pets.
Which you're gonna have to get that lined up too. How to butcher your first chicken when one of them kicks the bucket.
I don't think she'll let me. We'll see. Ask me in 5 years.
You got to find. Yeah. Find that spot behind the shed that, this is where Dad goes.
I got the space for it. And in any case. So, yeah. What else? We finally knew what happened to the
space. Let's talk about your garden. How's that going?
Sucks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay. I'm going to make a point.
Okay, listen up, everybody.
if you're listening and you're kind of you browse the YouTubes and the intrawebs and watch videos of prepping or any other like tutorial videos, or like I want to learn how to like build a car from scratch. You see these dudes that are like, they never fail. And they're always like, you need to do that. They always look like the experts. And that's the power of editing, right? It's the power of editing videos. You can make yourself sound and look like an expert in anything with editing. So when I do things, I kind of go all in, and I kind of do things bigger than what I'm capable of. So I did this garden, 5,000 square foot garden, huge freaking garden.
Jeez.
I didn't plant it all yet. But I did, like, I got 6 rows of corn, 3 rows of beans, 5 rows of tomatoes, 6 or 7 rows of potatoes. Potatoes doing awesome, by the way.
Awesome.
And I still have like 14 or 15 blank rows right now that have nothing in them. You know, I was thinking I was going to wait a little bit longer, maybe do some fall broccoli or something. But if you look out in the garden from my back window, it is green. Like, it looks like it is thriving. But it's the wrong kind of green, if you know what I'm saying. It's not vegetable green.
Oh, weeds.
It's weed
no.
green. I cannot keep up with it. And I'd have to go out there and weed 2 hours a day to keep up with this freaking garden. So I'm like, screw it. Like, this is what's going on in my mind.
Have you thought about, like, I mean, that's a big it's 5,000, but mulch or straw or anything like that to like keep the sunlight off the ground to reduce as many weeds as possible? I know, like, mulch is our thing that we do is mulch.
Yeah, so that's going through my head. You just throwing some mulch down or whatever. That's still a ton of mulch. I still have to get it. Still have to do it. I still gotta. Yeah. I mean, my thought is right now is I'm gonna just retill what I haven't used, and then cover it with a tarp and just let it all go. Maybe put some cardboard down, cover a tarp, and just let the thing just go for this season, and just be like, I'm not dealing with this. The current rows that are in there, I'll have to weed those suckers, and that's still going to be a lot. But I think what I'll do next year is, I've seen this done where people take, I don't know what they're called. It's kind of like a tarp, but it's made out of like a fabric, where it's got holes in it every 12 inches or whatever, and you just put the plant. The entire garden's covered with this thing, and all you see is all these little holes.
Weed barriers.
Coming out. It's like weed barriers, right? And I found you can get a 5 foot by 800 foot roll for like $300. So I think that's going to be my plan next year, is once I till this thing up and get everything I want to get out of it this year, I'm just going to till it up. I'm going to cover it with, put cardboard down, cover it with a tarp, and just let it go all winter like that. In the spring, I'll retill it, and then I'll put all that stuff down. But in the meantime, there's still things that I want to plant and grow. So I'm like, and it's hot. I hate heat. I mean, I've been doing better with heat. I get chronic migraines whenever I get overheated or whatever. So I have to stay outside like very little, or else I'm down for the day. Like, I'll be done. So, I used to be into aquaponics, which is growing food with fish, and there's this whole ecosystem. I did a little bit of hydroponics, but I never got really big into hydroponics because of my prepping mindset. I'm like, well, if like the grid goes down or the supply chains break down, I'm dependent on like these nutrient solutions to keep the hydroponics going. But I thought about it. I'm like, well, you could think about it in a different manner, which is what I think my mindset is starting to change about hydroponics. Is they have the liquid solutions. They also have the powdered solutions, and they're not that expensive. And I get and they last a long time. Like the powder stuff, because you're putting teaspoons of this stuff in the solution, not cups, when you're mixing the feed solution up. Why couldn't I just make that part of the preps? Like, just start bulk ordering that stuff, throwing them in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and just having a stockpile good for several years of planting, and go that way. from a prepping standpoint. Now, that doesn't solve like the 30-year plan. I can't do aquaponics, but at least I have some way of sustainably regrowing food after my freeze-dried stuff.
I mean,
runs
the
out.
only piece there that comes into play then would be the lights.
If I'm doing it indoors, you can do that stuff outdoors.
Yeah.
But what you gain is vertical space because you're growing vertically instead of on the ground. So you can get a lot more in a lot little space. You can bring it inside in the wintertime and still continue to grow stuff. But I've been thinking about it. So moving on from that, so I start looking at, okay, you see like online, you can buy aquaponics or hydroponic systems online. Here, there's one, right? Okay, so like on Amazon, this is an AeroSpring 27 plant vertical hydroponics indoor growing system. Now, my sister has this system. My sister Jen lives in Ohio. She has this system. She paid $1,100 for it. It only does 27 plants, but it's an all-in-one ecosystem. It's got the pump, it's got the lights, it's got the reservoir of water, it's got all the things you need to start growing in it. It's $1,100 for 27 plants. I'm not paying $1,100 for a system like this. There's no way. So I started thinking like, yes, people have built these out of like PVC pipe and stuff and have done it that way. But I'm big into, I mean, you can go to Lowe's and even this system here, this is just a scaled down system. This is $500. It just goes into a pail. You got to get the pump and stuff to do it that way. But I don't want to pay $500 either for something like this. So what can I do? Well, I can go to Etsy and I can get this little 12 planter thing for $120, a little bit more reasonable. This is a 3D printed piece. People are 3D printing these. It's $120. Just so happens though, I have a 3D printer. I have a very fast 3D printer.
There you go.
And here's the model that I would need to download for free to 3D print it. So this model here will 3D print everything I need to make, where's the picture at? To make that. Which is,
and those are the little baskets that would go into the...
You 3D print the baskets. Awesome. You 3D print it all out of either PETG or ASA, which is a type of filament that's more UV resistant if you're going to do it outside.
Okay.
But like, here's the modules, here's the models. You 3D print them all, and it's modular, so you can stack these as high as you want. So I did the math today. And this, to 3D print the exact thing that my sister has, was going to cost me about $50 in materials. It's way better than $1,100.
There you go. $50 and some time.
$50 and some time and some print time, which got me thinking like, what else can I use my 3D printer for prepping purposes? Like, I had some crazy ideas, like your go bags.
Make sure you get some tools in there.
What do you mean?
Make sure you have tools. Like, you can always 3D print a wrench or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, so yeah. I got a ton of wrenches though.
I know. I'm saying
but
just make sure you have those patterns and stuff just in case.
But like, so I thought about like, oh, I can like organize my entire get home bag with 3D printed cases that have 3D printed labels and organization inside the cases. That's really slimmed down instead of bags. Because right now I just use bags, like little Molly bags, and I stuff like, here's my water bag.
Well, but the nice thing about bags is they're flexible and they can. The cases are hard. They're set. You're only fitting blank in this amount of space, and if it doesn't fit in that container right, that's where the bags come into play, where it could be a little bit bulkier or shorter in other areas.
But I'm typically planning out my bags anyway. Like, these are the specific things, so I can really customize the case. And if I change the bag up, I'm like, instead of this size ferro rod, I'm going to scale it down to this size ferro rod. I'll just print a new stinking case.
That's true.
Who knows? But I think it's. Yeah, I think you can do a lot with 3D printing in the prepping world. Maybe I'll start a channel on that. Who knows?
I was just at Costco today, and they've got those black bins with the yellow lids on sale for stupid cheap right now, like $8 or something like that.
No.
Yeah. they had hundreds of them just layering a wall, like between, like when you first walk in and like where the checkout is, there's a wall of them.
Those things are freeze-dried miracles.
I think I'm actually going to go back and get more. I know.
That's
why I think I'm going to go back and get some, because for $8 a piece.
No, that's cheap.
You can't go wrong with that.
You cannot go wrong. I wonder if that's at our Costco. I'll have to tell Amanda to go look at that. Yeah, that's cheap, because those things are normally like when we moved here, we moved with bins.
$15 or something like that.
Yeah, they were like $15-$16, and I bought like 20 of them. But for $8, holy cats, that's a good deal. Have to look into that. But in any case, so well, apparently they know what happened to the submarine people. Saw that today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, apparently it imploded and they're all dead. It didn't run out of air, it imploded.
I heard something. So for those that don't know, like me, as of today, I didn't know, because I haven't watched anything or listened to anything or seen anything in the past 2 weeks. I've been just way disconnected from everything, and I need to get back into it. I've been saying that for like the last week or two now. But yeah, I heard about the submarine today. What was it? The Titanic submarine?
Well, they went to go. It was one of those small commercial submarines that went down to try to like tour the Titanic, the actual Titanic.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
but some billionaires went in it and didn't come back.
Back. Coast Guard was looking for them. They thought they heard some sounds like on sonar the other day, and then I just got an alert later this afternoon going, yeah, apparently the sub imploded. They're all dead.
Yeah, I saw something about, or heard something about, like fresh wreckage around the Titanic or something like that.
Something like that,
so
yeah.
that's why they say it imploded. But then you start hearing all the conspiracy theories.
About the $1 billion
my wife actually
CEOs.
brought something up today about. Yeah, there's something like one of them was a CEO of a company or something like that, and their company has just been. There's fraud going on or something like that. I don't know. I like briefly heard it, and I was like, my wife, she's turning into the conspiracy theorist.
Oh yeah.
so I was just proud. It was a very proud moment. That's all.
Oh yeah, because your wife is becoming a conspiracy theorist, and part of the prerequisites of being a prepper is you have to be a conspiracy theorist. Like that's a prereq.
Yep.
If you want to consider yourself an authentic prepper, you have to be a conspiracy theorist. So, congratulations, Mrs. Holt. You are officially a prepper.
I just saw her comment. I realized we're not getting any comments from the live viewers. I don't know if it's because it's not turned on, but
really,
she had made a comment in Facebook saying that people that do the editing for like their gardens and all that kind of stuff, she's like, oh yeah, they failed so many times, but yes, editing makes them look perfect.
Yeah.
So that was 11 minutes ago that I'm just now seeing. So
I'm seeing it. Oh, it says.
But
there was an error loading comments.
It's on my Facebook.
Okay, so there was an error.
Oh, Larry just said, preppers were trained by television shows to isolate themselves from communities when shit hits the fan. That's true. I mean, think about it. There's so many shows out there that give you those exact details. My wife and I just started a new series last night called Foundation on... I blame you for saying something about Apple TV, because now we have Apple TV, and it's like that's one more subscription that's on the freaking list of things I gotta pay for now. But it's like you've got some really great actors and actresses in it, like really good. CIA PSYOP. It's like a futuristic. They're in the future. They've got a lot of planets, a lot of citizens, trillions of citizens on this planet.
What's the show?
And Foundation.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
And you've got this scientist or whatever who is like a psychohistory, whatever, where he takes populations of people and he could predict different scenarios happening, major events happening.
Like using math.
Basically, like using math. Yeah. And he's able to predict like our civilization is going to be destroyed in this many years. Really good series. I mean, we started it last night and I couldn't stop watching. We're like 4 episodes in now already.
No, it's really good. But speaking of conspiracy theories, and end of the world stuff. I mean, let's bypass the sun. Let's go directly to the
Straight to conspiracy.
Straight to the conspiracy theories. So, if you've heard, Russia finally gave NATO an ultimatum saying, hey, if you continue to support Ukraine with weapons like this long range stuff, we're going to start targeting key areas to like take your crap out. And I don't think they were referring to key areas in Ukraine. If you catch my drift, I think they were talking about key areas in neighboring NATO countries, which, I personally think it's a bluff because everything else that they've said, this is a red line, this is a red line, this is a red line, we have crossed, and nothing's happened. So is this another one of those red lines where it's just them, it's Russia being like, oh.
Or is stuff being done and we're just not seeing it? You know what I mean? Or you've got the media.
Done. Yeah, the media. And you know what?
They only say what they want you to know or what you see.
So you can read, forget about the YouTube, forget about Canadian Prepper and all those guys who report on Russia and Ukraine all the time. But you can actually, if you go look at legit news articles, Washington Post, stuff like that, you can still read about stuff happening in Ukraine. But you don't see it on any news outlets. Nobody's covering anything that's going on. We don't get any updates on Ukraine of what's going on. There was a little bit about the counteroffensive, but there wasn't a whole lot there. But you could still go read about it in some of the major outlets. So it's clear if you read the stuff, there's a lot of crap going on right now that we're just it's not being communicated. And a lot of it's when you read it, it's like, holy crap. At any point in time, this could escalate to something that's really, really, really bad.
And that's why they keep on releasing all this random stuff to distract people, like a submarine full of billionaires or aliens down in Texas or whatever the case may be. There's always something that pops up like, oh, did you hear about this murderer of a woman and her baby? It's just a random news article that would be at the top of the news circuits for weeks. And then they're like, guys, this is fizzling out. We got to get something else. Oh, baby turtles are on, they're about exploding in population.
It reminds me of that show. Random. You got me hooked on Rabbit Hole. It doesn't have anything to do with the news, but corporate espionage, how corporations and stuff wiggle their way into governments, and it's crazy. It reminds me of all that stuff. And yes, getting back to Larry's point, where he said preppers were trained by television shows to isolate themselves from communities when stuff hits the fan. At some point, shizzy hits the fizzy. But I would go even further to go, people in general, they always reference their fears and stuff based on stuff they've seen on TV, movies, shows, stuff like that. And you have to ever wonder how. It's a good thought experiment. You watch the show Rabbit Hole, mind-bending, twisting, really, really good. But then you have to, in the back of your mind, go, I wonder how much of this is legit.
Yeah.
Really legit.
First off, somebody thought of it.
Somebody thought of it.
There's a few million people in this world. You're thinking you're the only one who's ever thought of it? Yeah, there's a lot of technology out there that we just don't know about. There's a lot of people out there doing these certain scenarios or having these moments that we just don't hear or see. But I could tell you there's a lot of shows that covers real events. I think it was X-Files, if I remember right. X-Files covered COVID before it was actually a thing. And when you have all these scenarios where they talk about people are wanting to inject something in their body without even knowing what's in it. They start going into that kind of stuff. And until you watch something like that, you're like, oh yeah, that's dumb. And then you get to that scenario, people don't put two and two together.
And that can really happen.
Yeah. So
no, to your point of news cycles, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it just, what was in the news cycle, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. It was all about the Canadian wildfires and how the smoke and all that stuff is affecting the air quality and all that stuff. I haven't heard about anything with the Canadian wildfires in the last a week and a half, 2 weeks. Are the Canadian wildfires, did they put them out? No, they didn't put them out. They're still going. They're just not in the news cycle. So people have forgotten about them, and they don't, they don't necessarily really care because it's not affecting their day-to-day lives. But yeah, the news cycles are exactly what they are. They're cycles. There's still this crap going on. There's still wildfires in Canada. There's still, what's that virus that was in Iowa? Did I tell you about that, or did you tell me about that? Not Zika virus.
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, some virus has there's a breakout of some virus. I can't remember what it was in Iowa. At least there's reported cases in Iowa. That didn't make the news.
Iowa coronavirus.
Not the corona. It was it's a form of Zika. I can't remember it. It's an old one. Who knows? But in any case, you didn't hear anything about that. And that wasn't a conspiracy. I didn't get that off of YouTube. Like, I got that off of a legit news article. The point is, like, all the things like you see and hear in a week of news go away, but the problems don't go away. We still have supply chain issues. We still have the economy still the economy. Joe Biden's still Joe Biden. Hunter, Trump, Russia, Ukraine, China, U.S., India, all that stuff. Like, it still exists and still around. It's just nobody. It's only relevant for the week or two that it's in the news, and then everybody forgets about it.
Right.
And that's where when people hear us go, listen, guys, like the weather patterns, El Nino, blah blah blah, that could have been in the news cycle a while back. People forgotten about it, and when we bring it up, when it's not in the news cycle, it's like, we're the crazy conspiracy theorists, because we're bringing up stuff that's like, you need to pay attention to this, you need to pay attention to this, you need to pay attention to this, and then everybody just drops and nobody cares anymore. But when it starts affecting their day-to-day lives, then they care.
Yep, exactly.
And they're not prepared for it. So that's what we try to do here. We try to talk about relevant things and try to explain how to prepare for them, how we're preparing for them. And we're not perfect. By my example of the garden that I've totally screwed up this year, I don't know everything. I don't. I mean, this is we just happen to be coming online.
Just some insight on mine. I had all these plans of growing my garden this year. Is going to be full bloom. We're going to have cucumbers and melons and this and this. I haven't done anything. We have asparagus that's completely ferned out. Just looks like a giant jungle, like just bushes everywhere. The garlic is still going, but it's been on autopilot. I haven't been out there watering every day, every other day. It's just, it is what it is. If it comes in, great. But I still have cardboard laying underneath my trellises from 4 or 5 weeks ago. Haven't touched it. Yeah. So it is what it is. I mean, it's everybody gets plans or random things pop up. I've been sick, so you may hear it in the podcast. I never said it since we weren't on the air on Thursday.
No, Tuesday. Yeah,
Tuesday. But I ended up getting a double ear infection and a upper respiratory infection. Like, sometimes that stuff just knocks you in your butt. Yeah, you can't do much. But hey, one thing real quick. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and to my defense, as far as the garden goes and kind of what we do, like, I initially did that huge freaking garden. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to get a crap ton of fruit. I'm going to freeze dry it all. I'm going to be good for like 10 seasons because I'm growing it all in one. But the other side of it was, I want to learn how to garden on a larger scale. And instead of starting small and working my way up, I was just like, why? I'm just going to skip a bunch of steps and just go right to the big stuff, knowing that I'm going to fail for a season or two. Eventually I'll learn it and I'll get better at it. And, that's what we do. Like, we build systems, we do preps, we do all this to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. And we just so happen to be one of the brave people that come on and go live to the masses and say, hey, we screwed up. But that's okay. We're not perfect. We're only human. So in any case, you were going to say something.
I just saw I'm trying to find it now. Of course, I can't find it when I want to talk about it. But I just saw last night that the USDA approved lab-grown chicken from Petri dishes.
Finally.
What was it? The company was called Good Meats. Now I gotta find it now. This is gonna drive me nuts. But it's called like Good Meats or Just Eat or something like that. But anyways, they are now growing chicken from petri dishes, and the USDA has approved that this is the way that chicken is going to be moving forward, so that billions of chickens don't have to die each year.
Can't wait. I want to be the first in line to get my order in. I want to be one of the first people that sucks that down, for sure.
Here we go. Share my screen. Good Meats, the future of meat.
Let me assign this. There we go.
Granted full approval in the U.S. There it is. You saw it live here. They were showing how like this is a big thing going on in Canada, and how it wasn't Canada, Singapore. They did all their testing in Singapore.
Of course.
With different restaurants that were testing it, and I'm like, okay. That's interesting.
So this isn't like the I don't know, couple startups tried to make like authentic tasting chicken and burgers out of plants. So this isn't a plant thing, right?
Not a plant thing. This is a all grown in a lab through science. They are taking genetics of chicken and basically growing chicken without it being a living creature. It's like just we're producing meat. So
they're not cloning chickens and then killing them and then harvesting them. They're literally just growing a breast and a leg.
Exactly. Yep, they're growing it in a petri dish. And of course they don't show you what it looks like.
Of course.
It just shows it's delicious. It's just delicious.
Oh, I can't wait till the green earth hippies get a hold of this.
Yeah.
California's going to outlaw real chickens in the next 5 years. That's crazy.
They're saving lives.
They are saving lives. Oh, Lord have mercy on my soul.
I mean, I can see this being something like if they were trying to mass produce this so that they can get it to other countries that have starvation and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. This is purely we're going to get rid of chickens. We're going to then control the market, and we're going to be able to drive where the chicken goes and the meat goes and yada, yada, yada. But
so, okay. If you're watching this right now, because we got a couple people from a couple different platforms, what do you think about this? Would you eat lab-grown chicken? Okay, I wonder if it's cheaper. Like, when it comes to the masses, do you think it's going to be cheaper to go,
no,
to get if we buy a pack of 8 boneless breasts, I don't know what that is, $15 now, or I don't even know. My wife does all the shopping. I wonder what this would be. It's lab grown.
I think on average, if people like raise their own chickens, it's like $15 a chicken. Like if you were to get a whole bird, it's like $15 or something like that. I see this being way more. I don't see. They're gonna say, "Oh, it's for science." There's a lot of processing involved. There's a lot of whatever. It's healthy for you. You don't have to worry about any kind of viral spreads, or they're gonna phrase it however they want to phrase it to make you think that this is better than organic. This is the real deal. Like, this is just the meat and nothing else. But like, I think of all the other parts of chicken that's used in our day-to-day processes. Feathers are used for other materials to do other things.
Yeah.
You've got broth that's made to be used for other meals. So I don't know. Like, how many other markets are going to be affected by this? Because, they always talk about not reducing jobs and that kind of stuff, but
that's just
I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder if beef is next.
Oh, it is.
What
happened to cloning back in the day? We were cloning sheep. What was that, 20 something years ago? I remember being in like middle school or something like that. And they're like, we've cloned our first sheep. And then, like, it just stopped. Did something pass where we couldn't clone anything anymore or something? I don't know.
I don't know. But if you went to cloning, you still got to kill it. You got to kill a living creature that has a soul and has feelings. This is much more efficient.
I just looked up on Google cloning, and it says 20 years after Dolly the sheep led the way. Where's cloning now? There's a whole article that came out in 2016 on it. So I'll have to look that one up. But anyways, just found this interesting. There's a lot of that going around, and more money being pumped into it from every country. I mean, if it's reducing cow farts and carbon and all that kind of stuff, hey, let's just pump as much money into it as possible.
Yeah.
Which could be where we start pumping our money, because we know where people are starting to put their money. So maybe we need to start just riding the market wave and start putting our money in stocks in those certain areas.
Yeah.
California starts saying, like, hey, we're only doing electric cars now, or New York or wherever. Start buying those stocks, because it's going to go crazy. Well, people are going to ramp up all that technology for the area.
It's funny you mention that, because I when I had my meeting with a financial advisor, I brought that up. I'm like, listen, you got the Roths that we're doing. I want to open a brokerage account so I can kind of play. And I got a couple stocks in mind, and I told her about this lithium stock. It's a stock for a lithium mine. And she looked it up, and she's like, well, the numbers, like right now the lithium mine is at it's low. It's at its low. It's at a low point right now. So I'm like, great, it's time to buy. And she asked me my motives of why lithium. I'm like, well, lithium is it's lithium and cobalt are the two primary ingredients to make batteries, lithium-ion batteries. And right now, there's no replacement for lithium-ion batteries right now. They're trying to come out with all these different battery types that are more efficient, because lithium is really inefficient. But every battery that's a lithium-ion battery, rechargeable battery, has lithium in it. And we start hearing about electric cars more and more getting pushed. I mean, that's going to be more and more lithium coming out of the earth, and lithium is only really sourced in, I think, 2 countries is what provides the entire stockpile of lithium. 2 countries in Africa. And China has control of one of them. Did you mute yourself?
Yeah.
You did mute. Okay. Yeah. China has control of one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, it's time to invest in some lithium just to play. I'm not investing tens of thousands of dollars in lithium mines. I just want to, a couple hundred here, just see how they do. But your chicken science there, that might be another good one to look into. Because, we are not the traditional, like, I don't know. You hear all these prepping channels talk about gold and silver, and don't get me wrong, I have gold and silver, but I'm still in the markets. Regardless of what people are saying about the markets, I'm still in the markets.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of preppers out there that are all about Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. And they see and hear about the solar activity and threats of EMP and no electricity and that kind of stuff. And yet they're still buying Bitcoin, a digital currency that isn't physical in any way. And they're still buying it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're still like, we still do stuff like market investing and stuff like that. Because until that happens, until the grid goes down, we're going to try to make some money. And just live normal lives and not live in fear and blah, 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 like everybody else does. So, I don't know. Well, outside of that, let's see. What's going on here? Nothing here.
It looks like they're now working with world-renowned chef Jose Andre to bring good meat to one of his restaurants in Washington, D.C. Stay tuned to find out. So you can go to D.C.
I wonder what Gordon Ramsay would say about that.
I'm pretty sure he likes meat. Like, I want
Real?
the chicken.
I want the
not
chicken.
some fake chicken.
Not some fake chicken. That's who they need to be their spokesperson, though. They can get Gordon Ramsay on board. It'll go far. But wow, I don't know. We didn't
What
really
else?
digress. We covered all that. We
No.
covered a lot of different things. So cool. Well, what's your next event? What's your next trip? What's your next thing you're doing?
Oh gosh. I honestly don't know. I can tell you. Okay. Do I want to announce this? No, I don't want to announce it yet. So, I don't know. Trip-wise, what's coming up next? All I know is that baseball got extended because of rain, and it's now like the first week of July, probably second week of July. So I just need all that to end first, and then I can start thinking about like what else is coming. I've got a trip to Wisconsin coming up. I'll actually be coming to your neck of the woods.
Oh, really? When?
We are doing let's see, towards the end of July 21st to the 23rd.
Okay.
Instead of Christmas up in Wisconsin that we've done every year for I can't tell you how many years, we're doing like a Christmas in July. Because it's warm and there's no like 3 feet of snow on the ground and blizzards driving up to Wisconsin. So
we don't get 3 feet.
See how that goes. Well,
that's across. That's the other side of the lake. That's Michigan. It does get cold though, really, 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 really cold.
I really don't have anything until our timber framing. Which I am so excited for. So pumped. I got to buy a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I got to buy a bunch of stuff prior to. I got to get more stuff prepped. Just for that trip.
So
how about you?
Do I mention his name? I'll mention his first name. Okay. So, Corey at work Corey. He bought a house, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he's selling his RV. So
yeah,
could be a new Cameron purchase.
No, not gonna happen right now. Not gonna happen.
I'm such a bad.
I'm trying to buy land. I don't want a mobile home. I want land, and that would stop me from getting land. But outside of that, my wife is working her magic. She's she earned a trip on the cruise to Bahamas.
Oh,
so that's exciting. Yeah.
When is that? Do you really want to go to the Bahamas during El Nino?
October.
I mean, I don't know. Is hurricane season still?
We'll see. October? We got time. I know. We'll see how it is. That's from the prepper mindset, your options are always open. So
sure.
Like, I could be prepping all the way up until like the week of, and then be like, nope, we're not going. Like that kind of stuff happens. But she's also working around right now trying to get a Hawaii, which is even further away.
And that's through.
It'd be all paid.
Like Maluka, all that stuff.
Melaleuca, yep. So she's pretty close to getting that one as well. But it'd be all inclusive, flights paid for. Staying on this person that owns the land or whatever, that's like the head person at Melaleuca or whatever. They own like, I'm not even gonna do it justice because I don't remember the full number, but let's say like 3,000 acres.
Because they're
Hawaii,
super rich and
like
it's a pyramid scheme.
I know. Well, we won't go into all that, but everybody has their own thoughts on all that stuff when it comes to pyramid schemes and whatever. But in any case, yeah, it's pretty cool. So if she gets that, I'm gonna be excited for that one.
Yeah, because you benefit from it.
Yeah, I would. So, hey, they have great products. I buy their stuff. It is what it is.
Well, I can. We're about at time. So I can close with this.
And I do want to say, people are very quick to say pyramid schemes. I won't go into defending and all that kind of stuff, but like, it's not a pyramid scheme because that's illegal. So just keep that in mind. We'll just end it right there. But
I will say
Anywho.
though, I can safely say that we can probably say that this live show episode was sponsored by Mrs. Preppin Patriot and Maluka. All proceeds will go to
Was it?
homeless children. I don't know.
they will now.
All right, guys, we're at time.
But anyhow.
Good talk, good discussion. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and like, subscribe to the stream. We'd appreciate it. It helps us out. And this video wasn't sponsored by anybody because we don't do
We
that.
haven't gotten there yet.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We refuse to take money from corporate evil. That's not true. But anyway,
It just depends on who's going to sponsor us, right?
yeah, right. Anyway, all right, guys. Well,
Good
happy
meets.
Thursday. Have a good night. We might see you on Tuesday. Who knows? It's summertime. We play it by ear every week anyway. But until next time, guys, have a great rest of your week.
Yeah. See you later.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Preppin'
No, that's not what I
Patriots
want.
podcast.
That's not what I want. Oh, so bad. Epic fail on the production part. That's okay. All right, guys. Peace out.